Welcome, everybody, to the BVarsity Live post-game show for Week 8. It's 11:20. Trevor's dancing, he's singing, he's doing all this stuff. You're in a much better mood than you were last night.
Yeah, well, my computer didn't crash on me at 11:22 tonight.
You should have seen him last night. It was a good night of high school football. That's what it was.
Fantastic.
It was so the game of the night, bar none, and there's a lot to talk about, don't get me wrong, but the game of the night happened at Sam Tobias Field at Garces, where Jack Tobias threw a 31-yard touchdown. Gosh dang it. Joseph Tobias, Jack's brother.
Cousin.
Grandson of, it won't even close, grandson or great-grandson of Sam, I don't know, threw a 31-yard touchdown pass to Scott Boylan in the second overtime. Then Centennial fumbled, and Garces recovered in their half of the second overtime, and the Rams survived to win 39-31. So much to talk about. But
and I love the fact that Steve Lynch said this is the most exciting. He's our freelancer. He's the most exciting, our top freelancer, most exciting game that he's covered in high school football in 11 years.
Steve Lynch has covered more than 150 football games for the California.
He knows that.
And and that is by, in fact, it may be close to 200. I don't even know what the number is. I'm just doing the math. 11 seasons times 11 regular season games, probably 4 or 5 playoff games every year. You're looking at easily over 150. So Garces students rushed the field after the game as Hunter Giulietti lost the fumble on a 10-yard run that would have been close to a first down on third. I mean, it could have kept going. Centennial would have had to score and get a 2-point conversion.
I think we should have done the post game from there if it kept going.
Yeah. So what's the headline here? So much to talk about with this game, but we do the recap at the end of the night. Just for this game, what do you take away from it?
That Centennial is legit in SWIL, win or lose tonight, and Garces is explosive as we've seen in the central section when you look at BHS, Centennial, and the Rams, and that's it. I mean, that's an incredible team.
That's two things. I like the Centennial angle, though. I really do. That they are competitive. Let's not forget that in all the excitement over Garces winning. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I was actually going to agree with Trevor that Centennial's record doesn't really indicate.
Trevor took 2 points. He stole whatever you were going to have. So go ahead.
Yeah, just Centennial's record doesn't really indicate how good this team really is. They just caught some bad breaks there, and that Garces can still compete with the absence of Connor Bruce.
Yeah, without Connor Bruce, Garces still winning, losing by 3 points to BHS last week. This week, the fumble goes in their favor, and Isaiah Martin, who lost the fumble last week, scores the touchdown this week that ties the game in the first overtime.
Let's segue into that. We talk about overcoming without your star. Look at what Liberty did tonight. 6 turnovers for the defense.
Without Curtis Brown.
While Curtis Brown is now Coach Brown because he's out for the season, out 4 to 6 months before he has surgery. And then Liberty defense comes up with 6 turnovers, including 1 with under a minute left in regulation to seal the victory. What an absolutely fantastic game. I mean, it was a slugfest. It was ugly at points. Nobody really had a rhythm, but Liberty did the one thing that Stockdale didn't, and that's capitalize on those turnovers. Because Liberty had 2 turnovers as well. They did score 1 touchdown. We'll look at those highlights later.
Yeah, and the other SWIL game tonight, Bakersfield 49-20 over Frontier in a game that could have been a lot closer than that. Honestly, guys, it was our game of the week. I called it out at BC, and it was 49-20, and it was never really in doubt once the maybe late second quarter hit. Bakersfield was up 28-3, then very quickly 35-3. Justin McGill had 4 touchdowns, including 2 on back-to-back plays, a 32-yard touchdown catch, and then Frontier's first play of the next drive was a 19-yard pick 6 interception return for McGill, and he had another pick 6 in the second half. Here's the highlights from this one. Shane Jones right up the gut on the third play from scrimmage for the Drillers, 33 yards for the touchdown, and that's going to be a theme. Carson Olivas with the extra point. Then here is the first BHS. Actually, this is their second fumble. They muffed a punt that led to a Frontier field goal, but Frontier fumbled it back, and then Cam Williams, just a sophomore, with a big run here, and that will set up in the second quarter. Caden Ochoa going up to Taj Wright. Hello, another one-handed touchdown catch, just like he did against Garces last week. Taj Wright makes it 14-3. And then the Justin McGill story, Carson Olivas, another extra point. Then the Justin McGill show really gets started. And this is a fumble by Connor Getman, as Frontier, by the way, going into possibly make this a one-score game again. Navante Demison recovering that fumble.
Who?
Yeah, who's that? And then Shane Jones going up top. Going up top.
You know, I always said he kind of looked like Booby Miles the way he plays football, and just like his dad in the movie. And he can pass.
Yeah. Justin McGill with that one. Cam Williams to Justin McGill. 33-yard touchdown catch. The extra point, it's 21-3 at this point.
Let me do my Lewis Amma story. Wow!
Justin McGill here. We checked on this. He was never down. Only on the player. We watched the replay. 32-yard touchdown catch for Justin McGill. So it's 28-3. Next play from scrimmage, Greg Youngblood hit as he throws right into the arms of McGill. 19-yard interception return. It's 35-3, and at this point, the game is effectively over. Frontier ran the ball very well on BHS, by the way, including right here as Efren Morales goes right up the gut from the 2-yard line, getting out to the 32. That could have been a 98-yard touchdown pass, or 98-yard touchdown run for the slowest guy ever to run 98 yards if that tackle's not made. And then here a nice pass for BHS. And then Mr. Justin McGill, a 57-yard interception return for a touchdown. And that is his 4th touchdown.
I got to tell you, Justin McGill's got a great dad, dude. Really nice. Great dad as well. Great.
And he's just a sophomore.
He is. And
Cam Williams just a sophomore.
Taj Wright
just a sophomore.
Isaiah Jernigan, who has 2 interceptions this year for BHS,
just a sophomore. And Shane Jones just a junior. So, no Choa just a junior. The list goes on and on and on and on. Next year, the year after, the future is bright for the BHS Drillers.
Let's go ahead and look at the highlights from Liberty's 32-22 win over Stockdale. Here we have on the opening drive of the game that Sammy Stewart, a sophomore for Liberty, scores on the 7-yard run. Miss PAT at 6-0 Liberty at this point, and then Stockdale responds in the second quarter. Zach Griffith gets the ball, goes up the middle, but Nick Maiden just goes, no, that's my ball.
Wow.
I'm going to the end zone.
Got your lunch money.
Yeah. We've had him on the show. He sat in this seat before. It's 7-6 Stockdale. And then Elijah Ortiz, like a bolt of lightning, right through the Liberty defense, 51 yards for the score. He had 219 yards rushing, 63 more yards in the air, 3 total touchdowns. There's one of them. It's 14-6 Stockdale at this point. But Liberty responds. Grant Bice after a Stockdale turnover goes 31 yards, right up the middle, high stepping it, goes into the pole vault pit, I think that is back there. That's dangerous back there. It's 14-12 after a PA 2-point conversion fail. Liberty, once again, sophomore Isaiah Hill to senior Luke Fringer, grabs the tip, and it is 18-14 at the half now. And then Stockdale fumbles a kickoff return for the second time in a row. This one to start the third quarter. Sammy Stewart with the second touchdown of the game makes it 25-14. And then Liberty gets another turnover possession away from Stockdale, and they will continue this 25-0 run as Hill steps back, fires a beautiful pass to Johnny Balderas right at the corner of the end zone, beats Ortiz, touchdown, 32-14 Liberty at this point.
I'm going to see that spiral when I close my eyes.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible pass. And then Stockdale in this game, despite the 6 turnovers, does keep it close on 4th down. Ruley breaks away, throws it to Ortiz for a 10-yard touchdown pass, but that would be all the scoring that would happen. That was early in the fourth quarter. Defense is kind of, battled back and forth.
So a 32-22 final. I made the comment to you that Stockdale with 6 turnovers, they could have certainly won this game. True or false? And you said, no, I think Liberty outplayed them. But true or false, Stockdale doesn't fumble those 2 kickoffs. Do they win this game?
Maybe, but the problem is that the pace of the game and the balance that everything was kind of going, you just go, well, at what point do you just go, well, you don't even think like that because they did turn over the ball. Liberty was smart, and Liberty was smart to know that Stockdale's defense is really good, and they were bottling them up at a lot of points. Sammy Stewart had to really work hard for his 118 yards, 108 yards I think he had, and I think that the coaching staff knew. They pinpointed one kid, sadly, on those 2 kickoffs, and they were perfectly placed by Robertson, who also had 2.5 sacks on defense, Jason Robertson, and he placed him perfectly, and they were able to recover those 2 kickoffs. Defense was opportunistic. When you look at it, you had Lorenzo Hidalgo, right at the line of scrimmage. You're supposed to be a dump-off pass from Rulli to Ortiz. Boom, interception. Sammy Stewart had an interception in the second half. So a lot of those things, and then they just start coughing up the ball.
Yeah, and if the score is different with those without those turnovers, then maybe Liberty plays things different. So I'm not trying to play that game, but I am saying Stockdale competitive despite 6 turnovers. If you clean it up, Mustangs, that 0-2 record in the SWIL will not last. Let's roll through the scoreboard. Here we go. We showed you Stockdale losing to Liberty 32-22 and Bakersfield 49-20 over Frontier, and we certainly talked about the third SWIL game in double overtime. The Garces Rams 39, the Centennial Golden Hawks 31. Real quick check now, the SWIL standings look like this. Bakersfield's 2-0, Liberty's 2-0, Garces 1-1, Centennial 1-1. Frontier and Stockdale, both 0-2. Those two teams face off next week.
Yep.
And then you have a 2-0 team in Bakersfield playing a 1-1 Centennial and a 2-0 Liberty playing a 1-1 Garces. That is our Bakersfield.com game of the week next week. Garces at Liberty, and that's a big one. That'll be a lot of fun. Okay, moving on. We haven't talked about it yet. The East High Blades, so close.
35 seconds left.
Yeah, and they give up. But on the flip side, Tehachapi finally gets that signature win to put their stamp on this season. They get Steve Denman to number 297, 20-14. The Warriors win it, and they get back into the SYL race as well.
Yep.
Moving on, Independence, big over Golden Valley. The Falcons have turned a corner. They beat Tehachapi on the mountain last week, and they roll Golden Valley at home 55-23.
And they're 2-0 in league.
And 2-0 in the SYL. Guess who they end the season against? Ridgeview. Speaking of Ridgeview, 65-0. 65-0 for the Wolfpack.
Wow.
One of the best 3 and 4 teams in the state, I would say.
I know.
For Ridgeview.
This is how a coach, I won't say what coach, but a Ridgeview coach texted me in the third quarter, says, hey, just let you know, Ty Johnson, 5 touchdowns, over 250 yards already. We're up.
We love it. Texting BVarsity live in the middle of the game. We love it. Moving on into the SEYL, another route. Josh Bennett's North High Stars, 54, and the Foothill Trojans, 0. Josh, finally a good week for North.
Yeah, finally put the piece together, got a win there.
And Foothill's
shout out at that.
Foothill's defense is in shambles, and it looks like it might be moving over to the offense as well. Elsewhere in the SEYL, South takes care of business. They beat Miramonte 54-14, setting up another. What a big week 9 we've got next week. South at Highland. That's for the SEYL title. So you've got South Highland. You've got East Ridgeview in the SYL. Not as big with East loss, but still a big game. And then the SWYL, you got the 2 real big games with Centennial Bakersfield and Garces and Liberty.
Love it.
Moving on into the SSL, Bakersfield Christian, another big game for Braden Wingle and Jeremiah Foster. They were down 10-7 in this game, by the way, and then by halftime, what was it, 42-10 at halftime?
Yeah, BCHS just broke away.
28 unanswered points there in the second quarter. Wingle, 257 yards passing. Foster, just 6 catches, 144 yards.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. 1 touchdown catch. And then Brock Holloway also had 147 yards on 16 carries on the ground. So
if
BCHS,
I'm not mistaken,
I'm looking at this BCHS team and going, how are they not the top team in D3 once again?
Well, and Hanford loses tonight to Golden West, a D4 team, a very good Division 4 team. But I think at this point, Bakersfield Christian in line to be the number 1 seed in Division 3.
And that loss to Garces doesn't look as bad as the season goes on because of how good the Rams look this year.
Certainly not. I'm trying to think now, Bakersfield Christian, Jeremiah Foster, they've played 8 games, but Jeremiah Foster, I believe now, is over 900 yards receiving. So assuming good health the last couple of weeks, he's going to easily break the 1,000-yard mark in the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
So moving on, elsewhere in the SSL, this result real big. Wasco 24, Chavez 13, among other things. And what a way for Wasco to get his first league win. What this does is it basically ensures Bakersfield Christian is your SSL champion. They have no losses. The only other team, I believe, with 1 loss is Kennedy at this point. And Kennedy, we'll show you right now, they kind of struggled a little bit, but they beat Arvin 35-21. And Kennedy's loss is to Bakersfield Christian, so even in a tie situation, BCHS would be the league champion there. They still have to go to Taft to play, so that's their one tough game left. But BCHS right now, you can almost pencil them in as the SSL champion. Great effort for Delano, but they come up just short at home, 42-35. That Tigers offense woke up, but the Tulare Union Tribe gets it going. A good night for Tribes. Tulare Union with the win, and the Cleveland Indians with the win in the ALCS over Toronto. Orosi 20, McFarland 14. Moving into the High Desert League now. 58-30, the Scorps The Scorpions of Desert beat Kern Valley. That was a close game in the first half.
Those Air Force boys know how to play football.
Yeah, they can score some points with Coach Chris Hinton.
A little fun fact from that game, Kern Valley actually returned an onside kick for a touchdown.
Wow.
Ooh.
Another fun fact, Chris Hinton's voicemail goes, "Yeah, Chris Hinton," and that's it. Love the guy. All right, that's your Desert High football coach. Bishop all over Rosemont, 42-7.
Yeah,
Chris Hinton. And Apple Valley beats Burroughs. Good game in Ridgecrest. I believe we called that one a close win for Apple Valley. Real good team, and Burroughs certainly still a playoff contender in the southern section. We have anything else? 8-man game. We did not get a score off Shandon and Maricopa. And then that game is tomorrow, I believe, Mojave and Faith Baptist. So time for final thoughts, gentlemen. We'll start with you, Josh Bennett.
Yeah, East High, I know you lost another close game. I know that hurt last year. You were closing games out this year, and it finally came back to bite you this year. But just look past that, learn from your mistakes, and just get ready for that big game against Ridgeview next week, because that division hopes are going to be on the line in that game for both those teams.
Yeah, nobody will remember the loss to Tashby if you can beat Ridgeview next week for East. That's definitely true. And the Blades at 7-1 still having a spectacular year. Trevor?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Brian Nixon knows how to coach some football. The guy has now won 16 straight SWIL games dating back to 2013. His first year for the Patriots. So it's going to be a huge game between Garces and Liberty next week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're allowed to change your prediction next week if you want, but on the spot, does that 16-game SWIL streak come to an end next week?
No, I don't.
You're on the spot, Trevor. You're on the spot.
No, because until it happens,
I allow you to change your mind. It's not an official prediction.
But as
yet.
of right now, no, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be one of those 35, 34 type games. But I think that Liberty, just because Nixon and Ryan Renz on defense, they really do scheme it really well, and they figure out ways to win.
Garces is learning how to win games. Liberty knows how to win games. So
hey,
maybe
you know what?
that could be the difference.
It's hard to bet against the Rams because that's a damn good football team.
That is our hey. It's not midnight yet. You can't say that. Josh, point blank, Liberty or Garces?
Got to go with Liberty.
Okay.
Experience.
That's our SWIL game of our BVarsity Live game of the week next week. I'm going to say Garces just to be different.
Hey, Zach Ewing, you're partying.
I have a final thought. Drillers.
No kidding, dude.
49 points on Frontier. That second quarter was scary. Big play after big play after big play after big play. Central beat Clovis tonight, by the way, as we just to hit some other big section scores. That's really the headliner. Clovis West beat Buchanan.
And I want to throw this out to everybody. I'm not going to write Friday Night Rewind until sometime mid-morning tomorrow. Tweet at me at Trev Horn. If you have any ideas that you want to see in the Friday Night Rewind, it's going to be in Sunday's paper. Tweet at me. I have an idea. I want to see if you guys have the same idea as me.
So Bakersfield, by the way, I brought up that Central beating Clovis 21-17. I think if they play like this and they can cut down on the turnovers, because BHS had 2 lost fumbles as well.
Right.
If they cut down on the turnovers, this team can play with Central and Clovis. I'll put it down right now. I'm not saying they're going to win a Valley title, but you've got to watch out for Bakersfield in the coming weeks. They have Centennial, Stockdale, Liberty to finish the SWIL.
I want to see
that's
BHS versus Central in the playoffs.
Yeah, tough slate with Centennial, Stockdale, and Liberty to end the season. But at this point, BHS I think is the league favorite.
Well, let me ask you this: at this point, since it's the 2 losses for BHS, if they win out the last 3 games of the regular season, and they're 8-2, those 2 losses are to out of section teams. Are they the 2 seed and Central's the 1? And then we get a chance to see that game up in Fresno at Sunnyside.
Certainly could be. Clovis at 9-1. If they win out, would have an argument. But if Bakersfield can beat Liberty. Just remember that Liberty has a victory over Clovis West, which is the other undefeated team in the track. So right now, the SWIL winner is – now, Liberty did lose to Central big. So the track winner, if it's Central, is almost certainly the number 1 seed. But the SWIL winner, whether it's Liberty or BHS or Garces, looks like – well, Garces is in Division 2, but it looks like – what are you doing with your finger there? What are you pointing at me for? That they could have the number 2 seed. Our producer is John Farron. We thank him very much for his hard work tonight. Josh Bennett, Trevor Horn. I'm Zach Ewing. This has been BVarsity Live's Week 8. We'll see you next week, everybody.